Masters of Mechanics, the David Grier clips are ready. And as part of that, we have something very cool that we wanted to show you that I think will make the process of viewing some of these clips a little bit easier in the future. And here it is. It is called Soundslice. Now, you may have seen this before. It's a way of synchronizing video playback with Tablature. In other words, you've got your video file and you can actually feed it a Guitar profile and tell it where all the synchronization points are. And then when you play the video file, you can actually get synchronized scrolling tablature playing right along with the video. Here's what it looks like. Very cool, right? You have this nicely scrolling tab system that keeps pace with the video and always keeps one of the systems in view at the bottom of the screen. Now, of course, the whole point of this is to be able to use this to navigate the files better, right? And you can see already, just by having the notation down here, of course, we can scroll the browser and we can get more tab view. We've got about 2.5 systems that we can see at any given moment here. And right away, it's so much easier to find moments in here that you might want to look at in more detail. For example, like check out this right here. You can see in this section here, I don't know if we've got the mouse here, but this bar here, if I click here, that is kind of the David Grier trademark outside string skipping that he's sort of famous for. He does this incredibly virtuosic bouncing between the bass strings and the treble strings. And right away, you know exactly where it is. And just like in Guitar Pro, if you just click on this bar here and hit play, you can start playback right from that portion of the file, and the video is perfectly in sync with it. But the cool part is, what if we wanted to see that in slow motion? Well, this is what's so great. I can actually take this section here and select it. And I can just say, hey, show me these bars here. In fact, we could let's take a bar before that, get those 2 bars, and then 2 bars right below it, so we have some pre-roll and some post-roll. And then what you do, and this is the cool part, you don't use the playback speed slider. You can see that over here on the left. It's cool that Soundslice has that, but if you use that, it's going to slow down the normal video and it's going to look choppy. Instead, what we want to do in the way that we have it set up is you're going to change the camera angle to switch to the slow motion camera. And that's done here in this area with the play button. So you click on this, and now you get slow speed, and it loads up a whole new copy of the video. But, and here's the cool part, because we've selected that range, boom, there it is. You see the string skips happening, and it's butter smooth slow motion, because this is a whole separate video file. It's 120 frames per second, our usual kind of thing. But instead of it having it being stuck at the end of the file and you'd have to go there and seek, you can now just drag across any section of the tab here and just watch it in slow motion. You can click around now in slow motion. We can go down here to this portion, hit play. Get some awesome cross-picking there. In fact, that's a really cool section. Let's take a look at that, and we can just play only that section. Beautiful, right? It's so amazing. It's kind of like having like almost a scanning electron microscope available, and you can just click power up and just power it on at any point in the score that you want. Of note, when you test this, the best way to switch to slow motion is to select a range first. If you don't do that and you switch to slow, it might put you back at the beginning of the file. But once you choose an area of interest, like this bar here, then you can switch the angle. You can go right back to original speed, and it'll keep the playhead in the same spot. And we've just selected that range, so it only played that section there. We can, of course, unselect the range just by clicking anywhere and hit play. Back to our scrolling behavior. Very neat, right? So you have this as an option. There are all kinds of other options in here. In the gear menu, you've got all kinds of ways that you can customize. You can change to like a metronome sound, and you can zoom in on the tab and scroll out. One cool thing, if you go all the way down to the bottom of the gear menu, you'll see here it says Advanced. If you click on Advanced, you get this selection of menu settings. You can click on horizontal view and then keep playhead on the left of the screen. And now what that gives you is more like the karaoke piano roll kind of view. So you basically just get one system that infinitely scrolls, which is kind of cool. I wish more programs did this. Logic, for example, when you're editing audio on Mac, does not scroll this way. The only audio application I've actually used that works this way is GarageBand, ironically enough, the low-end audio application. There are times when the one thing continuously scrolling is an easier way to look at stuff because you can see what's coming. But I think for most purposes, especially when you're in kind of a portrait view web browser like this, the default layout where you uncheck horizontal and you do check keep playhead at top of the screen, that will probably be most useful for most cases. And that's how we have it set up. And we've spent a lot of time working on the layout of this. We've looked at other ways that people have used Soundslice. In our case, we have a real need for this type of navigation, and just being able to click around in a very long file like this and switch at will between the two video speeds is of huge value to me personally. Even though we're editing this stuff, I go back and I reference these files in my own playing and practice, and just to be able to do that in a long tune like this and to just drop in and see stuff is incredibly valuable. But what if you're on an older machine or it doesn't work right, or your browser or something? We hear you. Check this out. You go down to the bottom of the page here, and what do we have here? Individual items. You've got Guitar Pro, Tablature. I can click this, and I will get a download of a Guitar Pro tab file. You can open it the same way you always do. Go into Downloads here. Here's David Grier, Angeline the Baker, and Guitar Pro loads up, and boom, there it is. Play it the same way you always do. Or I can, if you don't have Guitar Pro or you don't want to use it, you have tabs right here. Click Tab, and bada bing, as they say, Angeline the Baker opens up. Really nice looking tab, or PDF view. And then, of course, the video. If you just want to watch the video by itself, you can do that. Here it goes. You can full screen it. Beautiful, right? So the idea here is to give you more options, not less options. So you have this tab view if you want it, but you have all the individual items here. And this is so much easier than having this stuff wrapped up inside of zip files. Yes, I understand some of us are kind of, a little old school, and we like to being able to download everything in one giant pile. And we have the download products for that. But there are a lot of times when even me, when I'm using this stuff, I want to be just quickly browsing through an interface. I don't want to be dealing with a giant lump of downloaded things and then unpacking that and getting folders and rooting around through folders. Over time, what we want to be able to do is migrate more of this stuff to the website so that you can come to troygrady.com, log in, browse through everything in a really nice, usable way, click on the stuff you want, and then instantly start watching it rather than having to deal with computer stuff. And there's another sort of a related issue with this, which is becoming more of an issue over time, and that is a lot of people simply don't use desktop computers as much as they used to. For some people, phones and tablets are their primary computer, right? And why not? I mean, these things are incredibly powerful now. Well, there's simply no way to get a zip file on a phone. There's no way to get a zip file on tablet. And we've had to answer customer service requests about this, and we feel bad, like telling people, hey, you got to get to a computer somehow and download these files and unzip them. And we've actually had people cancel a subscription because they said, hey, I just don't have any way of using these files. Well, with a layout like this, now you could be on a phone, and we just got Wi-Fi and cellular service in the subway system here in New York. So all of a sudden, you can be connected to the world again while underground. And something like this makes usability on a tablet or a phone that much easier. In fact, I've got an iPad here, and I want to show you a few things about that layout, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look at that. Okay, here we are on the iPad, and the first time you load this link, if you're doing this on, if you're testing this on a tablet, I'll show you what happens here. If you reload this page, you may see a blank box where the video is supposed to be. What you do is you hit play over here on the left, and you'll see that the loading icon happens. It's going to stop, then you hit play again, and you're ready to go. This appears to be a Soundslice bug, and we're working on fixing it. Just hit the play button twice and wait a few seconds, and you should be in action. And everything works pretty much the same way as the desktop. You can play. You can either scroll through the video just by dragging it. You can tap on a bar and play it. Fantastic. You can also scrub using the playhead indicator here. You can go like this and get through the tablature that way and the video at the same time, which is pretty cool. Or you can, if you look on the right side of the tab display, there's a very small little scroll bar. You can just touch that and scroll, and the same thing will happen. And just like on the desktop version, you can grab a couple of bars here. Let's say we want to do this section here, and you can swipe across those bars and select the range. And to change to the slow motion angle, just click on the gear icon here and scroll down a little bit. You'll see slow speed, and then get out of the gear menu. And now when you hit play, it should go. Awesome, right? Now, the additional complexity of a tablet layout is that you have these changing screen orientations. And if I turn the device like this now, you're going to see the UI looks a little bit different when I do that. You've got more items on the toolbar here. In fact, the angle display where you change from slow motion and back again is no longer under the gear menu. It's actually right here the same way that it was on the desktop. So we can go back to original speed like that. And there you go. We can pop back to portrait mode and everything should adjust. You'll see more tab here. I would imagine that this is probably the way you're going to want to do it most of the time when you're on a tablet device. You just get more tab view in the display there. But again, now if you have an older tablet, just as we did before on the desktop, you can scroll all the way to the bottom. And of course, we have our individual items here. We've got the Guitar Pro file, the PDF file, and the video file. Now, I know what you're saying. How do I watch a Guitar Pro file on a tablet? Well, previously with the zip file method, there really wasn't a way. You had to get it on a computer, undo it, and then play the Guitar Pro files on your desktop. But on the iPad or on an Android tablet, if you click the tab button, here is what happens. Boom. David Grier, Angeline DeBaker.gpx loads in, open in Guitar Pro. Let's click it. And here we have a very nice mobile version of Guitar Pro on the iPad, and we can play it. And I hate to say it, but the tablet version of Guitar Pro is almost nicer than the desktop. It just looks cleaner and more modern. This is a thing you can get on the iOS App Store, and I think you can get it on the Android App Store as well. It's not crazy expensive. I don't remember how much it was, but it was not enough that I even cared to look at it. And the real point here is that it's a lightweight player. It works pretty well even on older tablets. We tested this on a couple different Android tablets and an older iPad. And Soundslice, where it struggled, this actually still works. So you can get this right at the bottom of the player page. And if you quit out of it, you'll go right out of that screen. I think you should be able to get back to, if I click back to Safari on the upper left here, I can go right back to the Soundslice display, back in the browser again, and just reload it up. And here we go. So you've got that is here. You've also have your PDF download, and works just the same as on the desktop version. Just click the tab PDF button. And here we go. Here's our nice PDF display. Very clear. Really nice experience on a tablet because it's really perfect aspect ratio for sheet music style viewing, for reading. So we can close that back, go back to the web page, and of course we can do video. Full screen it. Oops, that's interesting. I didn't know it did that. Can I full screen it? Yeah, I can. There you go. Really nice. And there you go. And now we're back to this display again. Notice we also have a little notes field down here where we could put information relevant to the performance. We expect that if we migrate to this type of interface down the road, that we'll be able to add all kinds of useful features to this page, not just the tablature, but commentary and links to other relevant items on the website. You can also test this on phones, by the way. You can try this on an Android phone or an iPhone. If you do on iOS, just make sure you're running the latest version, iOS 10 point something. I tried it on 9. I still had 9 on my phone because I'm kind of a Luddite sometimes, and I couldn't get the player to work. So upgrade to 10 or better, and you should be able to get Soundslice to work on your Apple mobile device. And we've tested it on Android, seems to work also. But this is a feature set that we're very excited about because we've wanted these things for a while. As musicians, we have more specific needs. It's not just sitting on the couch and hit and play. We want to be able to move around and change the camera angle and change the speed and click through the notation. And we're finally getting to the point where we can actually do this stuff. And yes, things are still bleeding edge. You're going to click on things and it's not going to work right, and you might have to reload the page or hit play again. These are kind of early days for this type of integrated multimedia playback. But for me personally, just the ability to drill down into slow motion at any point in a fairly lengthy and complicated score is worth the price of admission, especially if it's just in addition to the stuff we already have. You can still grab the download version of something and undo the zip file. That's probably still the most economical way to deliver a giant pack of stuff. But for a browsing type experience, this is the kind of thing we want to move to, and we want to get to a point over the next few months where you can actually log into the website and access the library this way. And your feedback in the meantime is really helpful. If you can give this a spin, take note of any strange behaviors that you encounter, and send us any constructive criticism, that would be really helpful in our testing as we build out some of these features. It's going to take a huge amount of work to take all the material that we currently have and migrate it over to a newer system where we have this and many more integrated features. So any help you can give us in the meantime is greatly appreciated. And of course, as always, thanks so much for subscribing, and let us know.